Hello writers, welcome to the second topic video of 2021. The first month of the new year is almost over already. I hope you all had a productive start. Today I'm going to talk about the benefits of writing flash fiction and short stories. As a writer who has written all sorts of format lengths, I thought it would be interesting to let those of you who've never tried the shorter ones know how they can help your writing as a whole. So let's get started. So, shorter form fiction. For those of you who don't know, short stories come in a few categories that cross over with something called flash fiction, and these categories are based on word count limits. So stories under 300 words are known as microfiction, stories between 300 and 1,000 words are known as flash fiction, and anything from 1,000 to 15,000 words-ish is classed as a short story. Over the years, I've written in all of these formats as well as novellas and novels, but writing short stories and flash fiction actually had a lot of unexpected benefits. Now, of course, if you want to be a novelist, you should practice writing novels, because writing shorts won't make you a better long-form writer, but they can teach transferable skills and can be a great palette cleanser for between projects, or just for something to do as fun or as a method to explore new techniques. So let's get on with the benefits. Number 1, they can be used to improve your editing skills. Short stories are a great way to practice your ability to cut the fluff out of your writing. What I mean by fluff is all the unnecessary words, sentences, paragraphs, and sometimes even whole scenes that we inevitably end up using in our work. Short stories are great for making you think about how every word counts because of the shorter word limits. So, my first challenge to you is to try and write a short story this year that is no more than 3,000 words. And then, once you're done, try and cut 300 words out of it. If you manage that, try and cut another 100, and then keep going until you simply can't cut out any more. If you compare the first draft of the story with the cut draft, hopefully you'll see a big improvement in the strength of your writing, which leads into point number 2. They are great for tightening up your writing. Flashes and shorts, especially those with a word count limit, are a fantastic way to tighten up your writing. Most of the time, we use far more words to say something than is really needed, and this can often dilute the meaning of a sentence or a paragraph and even dampen down key moments quite a lot. So learning to be more mindful of how few words you can actually say something with can give you a much stronger, cleaner colour to your work, and it gives some real impact and clarity to important moments as well. Learning to write in a more concise manner is something that would be particularly beneficial to people who tend to overwrite. That was me a while back. So another challenge from me is for you to try and write a flash fiction. So that is a story that is 1,000 words or less. Number 3, they can give you an avenue to experiment. Now this is more specific to short stories because you get more space than you do in flash fiction, but they're an awesome way to experiment as a writer. If you have techniques or writing methods that you've always wanted to try out, but it's too daunting to try and do so with a new novel, then you can use shorter forms for it instead. For example, if you want to try your hand at a certain point of view, say you always write in third person omniscient, but you want to try first person present, you can try that out with a short story in that point of view, and it will allow you to get a feel for it and see whether you like it or not enough to maybe try it with a bit of a longer work in the future. You can similarly use them to explore your characters and get to know them better. You can write a series of shorts where your characters are put into a selection of different situations and see how they will react. And this can help with characterization, personality, character complexity, and also your own knowledge about your characters as well, which in turn would hopefully make them easier to write. You can use this method for any aspect of writing or your story that you want to explore or experiment with in more detail, or simply just for fun. Because the short story is separate from your longer works too, it doesn't intrude on your draft if you need to figure something out halfway through writing a novel, for instance. On a larger scale, you can also try different genres through short stories as well. If you've never written in a particular genre but you want to dip your toes in, you can give it a go with a short or a flash fic. It can really help to pinpoint the expectations of genre as well, because you have to convey it in so small of a space that you really have to get to the core of the genre label you're writing in. Many of my short stories just fall into the strange stuff category rather than being a specific genre though. They're often the complete opposite to the fact that I write fantasy or magical realism in my longer works. Number 4, they help you get to the core of a story. Short stories and flash fictions have really helped me to realise just how simple stories can actually be. Of course, it's natural that shorter stories will be simpler than novels, which have space for subplots and twists and intertwining links and things. But the thing with short stories is that they open up far more places to find stories. What I mean by that is that because shorts and flashes are really fleeting, the stories themselves are often about smaller things. They give a passing peek into a world. A bit like if you walk past someone's house without stopping, but they have the light on in the living room, you can clearly see in, but you only get a couple of seconds because you're not allowed to stop. And this is what flash fiction feels like to a reader. They get a snapshot of a potentially much bigger story. So what are you going to show them in that short time? What are the important details? What's the core of the story? I've had stories about something as small as a tiny key. You know, suddenly a story doesn't just come from a huge, epic, complicated journey. A story can come from anywhere and anything. And for me, learning that really increased the amount of creative ideas that I get. Because the stories are simple and clear, you can explore the core of something as small as a passing moment between two people. This practice of driving straight to the core of a story, knowing the simple version, is something that's going to come in handy a lot when it comes to pitching longer works, because you are going to have to write loglines and elevator pitches when you query books. So, try and write a short story about the simplest thing you can see or think of, and then try and ask yourself what is the core of your longer form work as well. See if you can summarise your novel in a single sentence of no more than 25 words. Number 5. Short stories can feed longer form works. So just as short stories can help you cut things down, you can eventually use them to scale ideas up. If you write a short story that you really like, the kind that gives you the true feeling of being a snippet of a larger story, you can later turn shorts into longer form fiction if you choose. Having a little library of short stories can really come in handy, because some of my longer form works came from ideas that were originally short stories or flash fictions. Just as you can ask questions to kind of strip away the layers to find the simple core of a story, you can ask questions to add layers and discover if the story has the potential to become something more. This is a great practice for figuring out your idea development process. So why not try writing a random story of 2,000 to 3,000 words and then ask yourself if it has potential to become something bigger. Number 6, they can help prepare you for the emotional side of querying and submission. So short stories can help you prepare for the scary task of querying your work if you are going to traditionally publish. Like most things, submitting to places gets easier and easier and less scary every time you do it. There are tons of places that you can send short stories that is kind of like going through a miniature query process, because all the same steps apply. This could be competitions, literary magazines, short story anthologies, and there are plenty of these around. So if you manage to submit to one of these, you'll be under consideration for a chance to get your work seen, but it is alongside a lot of other writers, just like it is when you query novels or other longer form fiction. Taking the risk of sending something out is something that we all have to face as writers eventually. So writing shorts and flash fictions and sending them for consideration at competitions or magazines will get you a little bit more used to the process, and yes, more used to dealing with rejection as well. But this means that when you come to querying in full, which is a huge emotional drain sometimes, you may be able to handle it a little better because you're already used to submitting your work to places. It also gets you used to one of the most important aspects of querying, aside from ensuring that you're sending a highly polished work, and that is reading submission guidelines. All magazines, competitions, and anthologies will have different guidelines, just like agents do, so it doesn't hurt to practice ahead of time. And number 7, short stories can help to shift writer's block and cleanse your creative palette. If you are stuck with a big project and just can't seem to move forward, then short stories are a wonderful way to refresh yourself. Step away from a frustrating project and just write a few shorts or flashes for fun on a completely different subject. Doing this can pull you out of the hole that you're stuck in and give you some space from the problem. Often stepping away for a while and doing something related can help clear your mind, and it means that when you do return to troubleshoot the problem you were having, you can do so more effectively. So refreshing your eyes and mind helps a lot in working through blocks, especially for projects you've been working on for a long time. Equally, if you feel you're getting burned out on one project and just need a break, but you don't want to stop writing, shorts and flash fictions can be a great fun refresher to refill that creative well a bit and explore something different until you're ready to return to your long-term project. I'm sure there are more benefits to writing flash fiction and short stories that I haven't mentioned, but these are some of the main ones that I can think of. If you're already writing short form fiction, what benefits do you get from it? And if you don't, do you think that you'll give any of these challenges a try? That's it for this video. The next one, as always, will be coming in 2 weeks' time, so I will see you then. Keep up the good work, and I hope the writing is going well. Bye guys!